taken a look at the case study, we've taken a look at the question and try to use the question to trigger the types of answers that we can have. Let's take a look at a more formal approach to the solution based more on the theory. As I said, this will come from ISA 315, and you'll find it mainly in paragraph 11, probably to about 13. Make sure that you answer the question. They're asking for sources of information. So be aware that what they want you to do is tell them how you're going to get the information or where you get it from. So we need to obtain the following information, starting with the prior year audited financials, in order to make sure we understand obviously what the audit report looked like, as well as the financial statements too. The current engagement letter wasn't something that was really triggered by our information, but it is important because during the pre-engagement process, we get an enormous amount of information about the client, our ethical environment, their management integrity, all that type of thing we've already discussed. So there's a lot of information surrounding the engagement letter and the engagement process that we can use to plan the audit further as well. Information about their reporting deadlines and requirements from client meetings. This was triggered by the information as well that we saw in the case study, understanding their deadlines and what the client expected from us. Industry information, again, was triggered from the case study. Information from key management. Some of this would have been in the case study, others of it is a little bit more theoretical. Information about internal controls and potential weaknesses wasn't triggered by the case study. This is a little bit more of a theoretical issue, understanding the business and how it is structured in terms of its controls. Corporate governance, very important to us, understanding how the governance of the company works or what it actually is in terms of understanding the types of controls, and that directly impacts the reliability of the controls as well. Discuss existing legal issues with the client. We did get this triggered from the case study as well. Discuss the going concern ability of the client, especially in light of the possible penalties from the previous point, which was obviously our selling the medication without the requirements, and that was triggered by our case study as well, those two. Discuss any legal issues with their legal advisors. This is the same information as our legal issues here, but notice that we're getting them from different sources. And that's quite interesting because it means that there's more than one mark for one piece of information. If you go and ask management, so tell me about your legal issues, there's a possibility that they may want to make things sound a little bit better than it is. So what we want to do is get a little bit of an independent viewpoint or an external viewpoint. So we may ask exactly the same question of management as well as an outside expert or legal advisor. So think about that when you're thinking about the information as well. Is there more than one person that you'd like to ask that question of? Research legislation and regulations that will be relevant, industry as well as your JSE listing. Observe operations at the factory, obtain information about their manufacturing and operating processes as well. Both of these were triggered by the case study we spoke about. Review information from the client. What we look for, and again, this is a little bit more theoretical, there's a lot of information that our client can provide that can tell us what's going on at the company. System processes and flow charts, a lot of information about the internal control process. Management reports will give you an idea about both financial as well as non-financial information, what happened during the year, budgets that were met, not met, etc. Communication between management. Minutes of directors meetings, you know that a lot of important decisions, a lot of important transactions are authorized at these management and the director meetings. It can give you a very good indication of the types of issues, the stuff that they face and the stuff that they've discussed throughout the year. Company policies, the policy that they have in terms of dealing with issues, dealing with conflict, communication with personnel and management, company organizational structures, that would obviously be your organograms, code of conduct for employees, management, operating procedure manuals. These ones are a little bit more theoretical, but it is easy to see that all of this information would give you very good information about the entity itself, how it operates. And you can see that it goes far beyond just getting figures on a piece of paper. Understanding how the company policy or management and communication with personnel might impact your audit is very important to understand a sort of a more holistic approach of the audit. And although these are worth 1 mark, each of them, because they're more of a list than anything else, you can see that there are valuable marks. Perform analytical reviews on the financial and non-financial information, ratios, comparatives, etc. Comparatives prior year to current year, our client to other clients or other companies in the same industry. Gives you an indication of types of things that do and don't add up. We've got a total available of about 27.5 marks, with only 21 of them needed for this information. And again, I want you to take a look at the amount of marks that you could have gotten. You definitely would have been able to pass the question had you just taken the information from the case study and been aware that what they were looking for is, tell me what information you need in order to plan the audit of this client.